Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Roger Paul, and tonight we're going to continue our study on paper 15 from the Urantia Book, The 7 Super Universes. And we are in section 3, paragraph 2. And I believe it's the section on Orvanton. Yeah, the super universe of Orvanton. All right, so let's say a little prayer and we'll get started. Father, thank you for bringing us together tonight, that we might study your wonderful revelation. We thank you for these people that come here and meet with us, and those who meet at home with us and watch the videos later. We thank you for their attendance, and we appreciate them coming. Pray that they benefit from this just as we do, and that we might share it with one another and better ourselves and better the world that we live in. We thank you and we give you the praise in your son, Michael, Jesus of Nazareth. Amen. Okay, let's get started. 3.2. Diane, you want to start with this tonight? Diane, if I move that over, can you still see all the typing on that?
I can see it on my computer.
Your computer? Okay.
Yeah, I'm fine.
All right.
From the astronomical position of Urantia, as you look through the cross-section of nearby systems to the great Milky Way, you observe that the spheres of Orvanton are traveling in a vast elongated plane, the breadth being far greater than the thickness and the length far greater than the breadth.
Okay, and as I said before everybody got here, there is a couple errors on this slide right underneath it. One I'll point off at the very first, that you'll notice the pointing to it. You can't see my finger. Might help if I use the pointer. This one right here is definitely wrong. Across this way, you see this? It says 125,000 light years. That's not right. And I believe this one right here is wrong too. But we won't worry too much about it. What it's trying to do is give you an idea that from Jerusalem to Uversa is over 200,000 light years away. And from Orvanton, from our capital of our local universe, it's about almost 250,000 light years away. And that's the point of this. You'll notice here in this typing here, I'll read this to y'all because it's rather small. The Sagittarius system of inhabited worlds is far removed from Uversa, and that great sun cluster, which functions as the physical or astronomic center of the 7th super universe, from Jerusalem, the headquarters of Satania, is over 200,000 light years to the physical center of the super universe of Orvanton, far, far away in the dense diameter of the Milky Way. We're going to actually see that later on tonight. Satania is on the periphery of the local universe. Nebadon is now well out towards the edge of Orvanton. From the outermost system of inhabited worlds to the center of the super universe is a trifle less than 250,000 light years. Now, you're going to find out if you study this book long enough, there's all kinds of discussion about this. Okay, actually how far it is. All right. And this is from the book. This is on 359.8. But what I wanted to mention is they're giving us these measurements as an idea of what they're not written in stone, y'all. Okay. And I wanted to bring this out because after the book come out, somebody said, well, it's got to be farther than that and this and that and the other, and it may be, they're trying to give us an idea how far it is to the center of Orvanton compared to where we live. All right. So that's, these are,
Roger,
yes.
I have to admit now I'm a little confused because
Okay.
I thought, wasn't in our last meeting that I asked what was the book saying about the Milky Way?
Right, that is the Milky Way is Orvanton. Yeah.
However, it's showing here it's not.
No, it is. It is
The Milky Way is in Orvanton.
No, the Arvanton is the Milky Way. Okay.
How
Or
could
I
that
guess
be-
you could say it the other way around too, Mike, Rodney.
How could that be if Urantia is so far away?
No, this picture, yeah, this picture is showing Urantia outside of Arvanton. It's right in the center here. This
Oh, no, to
that's
the
what,
right, it shows Arvanton, the big blue area.
yeah, this no, the Arvanton, the title to this whole slide is Arvanton. Okay, it's not saying that Arvanton is over here. Okay, this Arvanton would be right in the center of this. Okay, so don't confuse that number one, Urantia is outside of the Milky Way, because Urantia is in the dead center of the Milky Way. Okay, the guy just took it outside the Milky Way to give you an idea in distance. That's why this slide's a little confusing, you know, because it has Jerusalem back out here where it should be, but Urantia should be right here in the center. Okay, you follow me?
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, I'm sure about that. Yeah,
Yeah, I still question that.
yeah, Urantia is right here in the center. Matter of fact, if we go down here, there's a great picture down here of the Milky Way. Let me find it. And I could point to where Urantia would be. If I can find the picture. I know it's on here. I put it in here.
I think you passed it. I saw Milky Way. Well, maybe.
Oh, you know, Mike, you're right. You're right. We already passed it. It was right above where we were just studying. Here we go. So this is the Milky Way right here, right? So Urantia, the center of it would be right about in there. See where my mouse is?
Correct.
All right, this would be where Urantia would be. And we would be way out here, probably on the edge, maybe that little dot there. You follow me?
Mhm.
All right.
So, how do the other galaxies fit in the scheme of things?
What I wonder.
Well, the other galaxies we see, most of the ones we see are in the first outer space level. Okay. We don't actually see another of the 7 super universes from our position. Okay. Because there's too much space mass to go through the Milky Way. If we would try to see the first super universe, being out, we're somewhere out here, we would have to gaze through all of these planets and all this massive amount of matter and all sorts of things to look at the 7th super universe. You follow me? So our telescopes will not penetrate that. There's too much in the way. Okay, so the other things we see, most of everything else we see outside the Milky Way galaxy is part of the outer space levels. You follow?
Are there any developing planets on those galaxies then?
Yeah, of course there are. I'm sure there are. Yeah, there's planets, there's everything you can think of, all kinds of nebula, and I got a bunch of pictures down here. Hang on, yeah. Okay, I've got all kinds of pictures of the different types of creation things down here, the way that nebula and planets are created. Let me find this slide down here. This, I put tons and tons of pictures in this particular paper. Okay, here we go. Here's some of the different ways that we could see planets developing. That's what all these pictures are about. There's a lot of different nebulae and a lot of different creation going on. Like this particular one right here, you can see my mouse. This, I would almost guarantee you, is the outer space level. Okay. See all these different galaxies and phenomena going on out there. And then we have all sorts of other stuff going on that this is another good picture of the Milky Way. This is the one I was really looking at. And any of these large masses, especially this one right here, see where my mouse is? Look how large that mass is. That would definitely, that could definitely be Uversa because of the size of it, right? Because look how huge that thing is. So
is the Milky Way a galaxy the most developed of all the systems out there then?
no, not at all. The most developed would be the first super universe, which is the one built after the Father. That was the youngest one. That would have the most different things in it. But like I said, because of our position in space, and we're going to study this a little bit later, maybe not tonight, but we will be studying this soon about how, because of our position in the seventh super universe, we can't see certain things. Okay. A good example of that is this right here. This is a NASA photo of them just pointing their telescope in a square. See this square up here? All right. And all they're doing is pointing the telescope that way. And when they zoomed in on this, they found out there was millions and millions and millions of planets in that one little square. And look at the whole thing here. You know, I mean, it's hard for us to even imagine.
Very much so.
You know, how many planets and how many suns and then how many planets are involved in all this. And there's lots of other galaxies we can see, but it makes you wonder, most of them are probably part of the outer space levels. Now, this is a great picture of the Milky Way and the Andromeda galaxy collision. And that's how our particular planet got developed, okay? This collision of the Milky Way and the Andromeda system, the Milky Way pulled off part of the Andromeda system, and that's how our planet got developed. And that's what Michael did. He stepped in and developed the planets and our local universe from that. So there's just a lot of information in this. It's just almost hard to imagine.
Are you talking about the local solar system or the local universe?
Local solar system. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. When Andromeda come close to the Milky Way, it pulled off all this matter and all this large amounts of planets and suns and that sort of thing was pulled into the Milky Way. And from that, Michael steps in and starts to build his local universe. So a good portion of our local universe comes from that happening, that pulling off of that matter from Andromeda. You have to use what you get, right? And Michael chose this particular space area. So that's what he got. And that's what him and the local universe Mother Spirit had to work with. Okay. Now, don't get the idea that this book is exhaustive about this. It's not even close. It just gives us a rough idea of what happened. There are so many other things that go along with this that it would take thousands and thousands and thousands of papers for them to explain it to us, right? And that wasn't their purpose in doing this. It was to give us an overview, really. We're going to get to this picture in just a minute. This is another great picture. This is a better illustration, all right, of how Uversa sits in the middle of the seventh super universe, right? Now, it's a lot different here because down here, this line, using my finger again, sorry, y'all. This line says about 20 million light years, not 20,000 light years, right? And not 200,000 light years, but 20 million light years. It's talking about the length of the seven super universes, okay? We can't conceive of what 20 million light years is. It's just too huge. I mean, that's
That
all.
would be the grand universe.
That would be the grand universe, right? And in width across this way, we're talking about around 14 million light years this direction, up and down, and 20 million in length this way. Okay, so that's a lot of space, any way you look at it, right?
Yeah.
All right, let me see if I can get my control back up here and go back up where we were. It's a lot to take in, I know. But this, we got to remember, this is a overview, right? Okay. Millie, would you like to take the next one, please?
Muted.
You're muted, Millie. Yeah, we're on 3-3.
Observation of the so-called Milky Way discloses the comparative increase in Orvonton stellar density when the heavens are viewed in one direction, while on either side the density diminishes. The number of stars and other spheres decreases away from the chief plane of our material superuniverse. When the angle of observation is precipitous, gazing through the main body of the realm of maximum density, you are looking toward the residential universe and the center of all things.
Okay, so I stuck this Hubble picture in here so y'all can kind of get an idea of the problems of viewing planets and universes, okay, because of where we are. All right, and Hubble can look 10 times deeper into our galaxy than any other previous telescope. Okay, so we can look more now than we ever could. But if you think about this, if this centerpiece was the Milky Way galaxy, we are looking from way out here somewhere, right? So we have to look through the density. Another things I wanted to show you, and this is what they call a stellar reflex motion of the sky. This also affects how the telescope can look at things, because you got motion in several different places. First, we got the Earth's orbit about the sun, right? And then you have the sun's orbit around what? Nebadon. And then you have Nebadon's orbit, including the constellations in Nebadon's orbit. And then you have the orbit of Nebadon in the minor sector. Then you have the orbit of the minor sector in the major sector. Then you have the orbit of the super universe around Havona, right? All these motions have to be accounted for in anything we look at because of the reflection of light, the refraction of light, I should say. Okay, so that's why it makes it difficult to look at things. But what they're just trying to tell us, all right, is this right here. This is what we just read about. The observation of the so-called Milky Way discloses the comparative increase in Orvonton stellar density. What are they talking about? This is Orvonton, okay? This is Jerusalem, and we're out here farther than Jerusalem, okay? So if we have to look towards the center of the Milky Way, okay, we would be looking at paradise. You follow me?
Yeah.
Yeah. But the problem is we're so far out here, this is what they're talking about, all right? All right, Orvonton stellar density when the heavens are viewed as one direction, while on the other side of the density diminishes. The number of stars and spheres decreases away from the chief plane of material universe. So it gets less out here in the edges, doesn't it? Okay, and it gets to be more in the center. When the angle of observation is propitious, gazing through the main body of this realm of maximum density, we're talking right in the center, okay? You are looking toward the residential universe and the center of all things. So when you look right straight through the center, that's where you would look to find paradise. Now, can we see that? No. We still have the dark bodies to account for. plus the fact the density inside the Milky Way or the seventh super universe is so tight, we could never get to the other side of Uversa to see it, right? There's too much stuff in the way, too many planets, too many developing universes and that sort of thing, okay? Now, this is an interesting statement in the next one too. Let's go on to the next one. Mike, would you take the next one, please?
Sure. Okay. Of the 10 major divisions of Orvington, 8 have been roughly identified by Urantian astronomers. The other 2 are difficult of separate recognition because they are obliged to view these phenomena from the inside. If you could look upon the super universe of Orvington from a position far distant in space, you would immediately recognize the 10 major sectors of the 7th galaxy.
So they're talking about this right here, the 7 super universes, right? And do you remember the picture of the 10 major sections? So astronomers have really looked and can identify 8 out of the 10. They can't identify them being separate, but they can see them, okay? To astronomers, this whole Milky Way galaxy looks like one large conglomeration, right? Why would that be? Because from the position in space we can't get above it. If we could get above the 7 super universes, we would definitely see the 10 divisions of the 7th super universe. But since we're looking through it, they're superimposed on one another, okay? So it's hard to distinguish between them, all right? It's the point of view, once again, all right? All right. Jane, would you take the next one, please?
Okay. The rotational center of your minor sector is situated far away in the enormous and dense star cloud of Sagittarius, around which your local universe and its associated creations all move. And from opposite sides of the vast Sagittarius supergalactic system, you may observe 2 great streams of star clouds emerging in stupendous stellar coils.
Okay, y'all, I want to make something clear. These pictures that I put in here are not the exact pictures of what they're talking about. Okay, I don't want you to think they are, but they're examples of what they're talking about. And it's the closest thing I could find to show you an example. So if you think about this picture here, this would be a good example of a stellar coil, okay, which would be a good example of what? A minor sector, okay? And you can see in the stellar coil, we have certain areas where they have large conglomerations of dense material or planets. You see those? Like this one here, this one here, this one here. These are multiple planets. So that would be a good example, like a minor system with its architectural spheres and that sort of thing. Okay, so that's why I'm using these sort of pictures for this. And this is the closest thing I could find to try to illustrate this. All right, let's see who's next to Jane. We're gonna skip Rodney tonight. Letch, would you take the next one, please?
Okay. The nucleus of the physical system to which your sun and its associated planets belong is the center of the one-time Andromeda nebula. This former spiral nebula was slightly distorted by the gravity disruptions associated with the events which were attendant upon the birth of your solar system and which were occasioned by the near approach of a large neighboring nebula. This near collision changed Andromeda into a somewhat globular aggregation, but did not wholly destroy the two-way precession of the suns and their associated physical groups. Your solar system now occupies a fairly central position in one of the arms of this distorted spiral, situated about halfway from the center out towards the edge of the star stream.
Okay. So this is the closest picture I could find. If this is the Milky Way galaxy and this is the Andromeda system, okay, we would be where? We would be somewhere out here. You see what I'm saying? Because the Milky Way galaxy pulled out material from the Andromeda system, and we're part of this, what was once a spiral system of Andromeda. We're one of those arms sticking out there that the seventh super universe pulled away the material and the matter. And that's where our solar system came from. That's where our planet came from. And the material from our planet also created what? The moon. All right. So the moon is like leftover material that was created that did not have the same atmosphere of the planet. Okay. But it's because of the moon being pulled off that is what keeps our oceans going properly, right? The moon does so many different things. It's just so important to us. If an asteroid destroyed our moon, it would just about destroy this planet. Okay, that's what I'm saying. So the fact that it pulled off material to create the moon around the same time it created the planet, as our planet started cooling down over the years, so did the moon. Okay, and basically it came from the same material. It's interesting because as they explore the moon and they get more and more samples back, they're going to find out that the basic molecular patterns on the moon are the same ones on the Earth. Okay, just like all the rest of the planets in our local universe. All right, but this is a pretty good example of the collision of the Milky Way galaxy and the Andromeda galaxy collision. Okay, these are illustrations. These are not all pictures. They're illustrations that come up with. All right, I stuck a couple other things in here that I thought it would be of interest to people. This sweep I was talking about earlier on this little section is basically this picture down here. When they did the sweep, this is what they found. Look at all the thousands and thousands and millions of planets they saw in that one little inch of space. They just stuck it out there and took a picture for a certain period of time. I thought, man, that's just, it's amazing.
Amazing, beyond amazing.
It really is. And that's why if you look through the Milky Way galaxy, through the center of it, there's so much stuff in the way, we could never, get a picture or to see what the central super universe looks like, right? Okay. It'd be next to impossible. All right, let's see. Bill, would you take the next one? Just take the top paragraph, and we're going to take these one at a time, Bill, because we need to break these down. All right. Bill, you're muted. You got it now.
Okay. The Sagittarius Sector and all other sectors and divisions of Urantia are around Uversa. And some of the confusion of Urantian star observers arises out of the illusions and relative distortions produced by the following multiple revolutionary movements.
Okay, this is what I was talking about a few minutes ago because of her position and all these movements. This is why it's hard for us to observe anything. Number one, the revolution of Urantia around its sun, right? Okay. Number two, the circuit of the solar system about the nucleus of the former Andromeda Nebula. They're talking about this up here. We were just looking. Well, I skipped over it, didn't I? There it is. I'm talking about this right here. This creates the problem of us being able to view things too, because we're being pulled not only by the seventh super universe, but we're also being pulled by what? The remains of the Andromeda system. Okay, that's what it's talking about. All right. You could spend years just studying this stuff they got in this, right? All right. 3, the rotation of the Andromeda stellar family and its associated clusters about the composite rotation gravity center of the star cloud of Nebadon. So our star cloud itself creates a different motion. Okay. All right. And then we have the swing of the local star cloud of Nebadon and its associated creations around the Sagittarius center of their minor sector. So we have Nebadon and we have the minor sector involved, 2 different directions. Okay. Then we have the rotation of 100 minor sectors, including Sagittarius, about the major sector. Want to try to figure that one out, right? Then we have the world of the 10 major sectors of the so-called star drifts about the universe headquarters of Urvanton. So we also have the pull of Uversa, or the center of Urvanton, on all 10 major sectors, okay? And then finally, we have the movement of Urvanton and the 6 associated super universes around Paradise and Havona, the counterclockwise positional of the super universe space level. Now, y'all want to drive yourself crazy? Try to figure out each one of those rotations, right? Make yourself nuts doing that. All right.
Roger,
Yeah.
is Andromeda part of the Milky Way?
No. It's separate from the Milky Way. Okay. The Milky Way is the 7th super universe. Andromeda is outside the 7th super universe. Now, the question comes up, Rodney, if that's the case, what function is Andromeda going to have in the future? Is it going to be, will our super universe, our 7th super universe, keep pulling material from Andromeda to create more local universes? It's quite possible, right?
Yeah.
It is, because we know that we're only 40% done, right? And no more than 40% done in our local universe, right? So it's got to get its material from somewhere, and it would make sense that it's part of that will come from where? The Andromeda system. Makes sense? Okay. Diane, I believe you're up.
These multiple motions are of several orders. The space paths of your planet and your solar system are genetic, inherent in origin. The absolute counterclockwise motion of Urvanton is also genetic, inherent in the architectural plans of the master universe. But the intervening motions are of composite origin, being derived in part from the constituent segmentation of matter energy into the super universes, and in part produced by the intelligent and purposeful action of the Paradise Force organizers.
Okay, do y'all understand the importance of this? A lot of these motions that we've been talking about are inherent in the origin of the genetic origin of those universes, right? But some of the stuff we've just been talking about, like the Andromeda system, some of this comes from the manipulation or the intelligent, purposeful action of the Paradise Force organizers. And as I don't know if we studied this or if I studied it in a previous class, but do you remember where it talks about how the Paradise Force organizer moves tangent to the local universe? In the creating of a local universe, he moves right above it, and by that movement actually pulls out this primordial matter and starts creating planets. It's almost unconceivable.
Really it is.
And then at that point, that's when the creator son, the creator mother spirit steps in and manipulates that matter and creates planets for the local universe. What a, you think about it, it's a symphony going on all the time. You know, you have all these different aspects that's manipulating all these different things, right? Okay, Millie, would you take the next one, please?
The local universes are in closer proximity as they approach Havona. The circuits are greater in number, and there is increased superimposition layer upon layer. But farther out from the eternal center, there are fewer and fewer systems, layers, circuits, and universes.
Okay, so what's it telling us? It's telling us that if you look at the pictures we've been using of the universes, right? So as you come closer in towards paradise, these super universes are denser and denser. But as you come out from the center, there's less and less. So this area on the edges, like on the edges of the Milky Way, has a lot less planets than it does closer into the center. You see that? That's what they're talking about. And every single one of these 7 super universes is exactly the same. The more denser, closer in than they are out. Now, think about this. The rotation of these super universes takes billions and billions of years, right, to rotate all the way around. And then they also rotate around paradise itself. But apparently, when this universe rotates around, the mass that is closest to paradise increases because of what? The gravity and the pull. Makes sense? Of course, that difference, that change in that density takes billions and billions of years. Okay, so it's really not even noticeable to somebody like us, but to the 7 super universes, it is.
Well, we ain't on this place long enough to know all of this and see all of this.
Not even close, Bill. Not even
Close.
Not even in the ballpark, right?
That's right.
All right. Let's move on to 4, the nebula. The ancestors of the universe. Let's see who's up next. Mike, I believe you're up next.
Sir. Okay, number 4, nebula, the ancestors of universes. While creation and universe organization remain forever under the control of the infinite creators and their associates, the whole phenomenon proceeds in accordance with an ordained technique and in conformity to the gravity laws of force, energy, and matter. But there is something of mystery associated with the universal force charge of space. We quite understand the organization of the material creations from the ultimatonic stage forward, but we do not fully comprehend the cosmic ancestry of the ultimatons. We are confident that these ancestral forces have a paradise origin because they forever swing through pervaded space in the exact gigantic outlines of paradise. Though non-responsive to paradise gravity, this force charge of space, the ancestor of all materialization, does always respond to the presence of nether paradise being apparently circuited in and out of the nether paradise center.
Okay, what are they talking about? They're talking about the ultimatons, okay? That's what makes up primordial force, okay? And this comes from where? This comes from the nether paradise, this picture right here. This is the underneath part of paradise. And what they're telling us is these ultimatons are encircuited somehow in paradise, and they come out from there and they return to there. Okay, and this is what the unqualified absolute pulls out to make it available for the what? The paradise force organizers, right? And I stuck this picture in to give y'all just a kind of example. Who knows what it looks like? Could look like anything. Could look like something like this, right? This is all speculation. All right. Now this is where we have the Paradise Force organizer step in. Jane, would you take the next one, please?
Okay. The Paradise Force organizers transmute space potency into primordial force and evolve this pre-material potential into the primary and secondary energy manifestations of physical reality. When this energy attains gravity responding levels, the power directors and their associates of the super universe regime appear upon the scene and begin their never-ending manipulations designed to establish the manifold power circuits and energy channels of the universes of time and space. Thus does physical matter appear in space, and so is the stage set for the inauguration of universe organization.
Okay. Jane just read to you the secret of eternity. Okay. This is where all matter comes from. This is where all force comes from. This is where all reality comes from, is this paragraph right here. Pretty heavy, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you have
Space
these
potency.
space potency. Yeah, these Paradise Force organizer takes this space potency, all right, the beginning of anything, and adds it to the primordial force, okay? And between this manipulation, they have a group of beings called the power directions, and they put all this stuff together, and what happens? Matter appears. Physical matter appears. Okay, so this is where everything material in all the universes and all forever time comes from. This is the beginning. You know, everybody keeps looking for that. Where did it start? Right? This is where it starts, right here. That's why I call this the secret of the universe, because this is where everything begins. All right.
Well, it says it is quoted that it is formless and void.
Formless and void. That's right.
Yeah.
They take formlessness and void and inject space potency and primordial force to bring these things into reality. And where do they get the space potency and primordial force? Nether paradise.
Nether paradise.
That's right. That's right. And it's the power directors that step in and starts manipulating these things, these material creations, into the power circuits and the energy channels of the universes of time and space.
Yeah.
This is where it all starts.
Roger, the
Yeah.
paragraph section before, didn't it say the automatons come
Yes.
from Nether paradise
That's right. They
in
do.
return?
That's right. And we know the automatons are what? Unique to paradise itself, right? You follow me?
Mhm.
Have I lost anybody? You still worth us, Fletch?
Yeah.
Okay. He's sitting there thinking,
It is
guy's
mind-
gone off the deep end.
It is mind-boggling.
Yeah, he's having to hold his head up because it's so heavy.
Quack, 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 quack.
I know. This would drive a physicist crazy, right? I realize this. You know, who are we listening? We're missing Ed tonight, aren't we? Right? He'd love this. All right. Let's go on to the next one. Let's see. Fletch, I believe you're up next.
Okay. This segmentation of energy, the phenomenon which has never been solved by the physicists of Nebadon. Their chief difficulty lies in the relative inaccessibility of the Paradise Force organizers for the living power directors, though they are competent to deal with the space energy, do not have the least conception of the origin of the energies they so skillfully and intelligently manipulate.
So they manipulate it, but they don't even know where it comes from, right? They don't know where they get this power to do this. They just know they can. And they're not volitional, okay? So they don't have free will to do this any milly-melly way they want to do it. They do it the same way every time, over and over and over, okay? It's automatic to them, all right? All right. Bill, would you take the next one?
Okay. Paradise Force organizers are nebula originators. They are able to initiate about their space present the tremendous cyclones of force, which, when once started, can never be stopped or limited until the all-pervading forces are mobilized for the eventual appearance of the automatonic units of universe matter. Thus are brought into being the spiral and other nebula, the mother wheels of the direct origin suns and their varied systems. In outer space, there may be seen 10 different forms of nebula, phases of primary universe evolution, and these vast energy wheels
That's interesting.
had the same origin as did those in the 7 super universes.
Remember when I scrolled down to the pictures of the nebulae? All 10 of them are different, but they all start the same way. Okay, that's the whole point. And they started the exact same way the 7 super universe started.
Fascinating.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Okay, and once they start this force, it can never be stopped. It starts, but it never stops, which is also very interesting. Once they start the force and get it going, it just keeps going and going. It's like the Energizer Bunny. It never runs down, right?
You know, what's an amazing thing is that here is the beginning of this. This is the final this is the final movement of space potency. Just turn on the electric light.
Yeah,
This is it.
this is where it all comes from.
TV, plug in your cell phone.
Yeah,
It's
everything.
the source. We're reading about the source of this stuff.
Source of everything, everything, you know? That's why I call it the secret of the universe, right?
Yeah, buddy.
This is the beginning of it all. This is where it all started. And this is why it keeps going and going and going and going too. It never stops, you know? It's kind of like once you start an electric signal, it doesn't stop, right? It just keeps going and going and going and going, you know? Same way with magnetism and it's just so many different things, right? It seems like they have unbounded, unending energy, right? And that's what it is. Okay. Let's see, 4 or 5. Let's see who's up next.
Dang.
Who's up next here?
Am
Who just read?
I-
Bill did. Bill did. Okay, so you're up next there.
Okay. Nebulae vary greatly in size and in the resulting number and aggregate mass of their stellar and planetary offspring. A sun-forming nebula just north of the borders of Arvanton, but within the superuniverse space level, has already given origin to approximately 40,000 suns. And the mother wheel is still throwing off suns, the majority of which are many times the size of yours. Some of the larger nebula of outer space are giving origin to as many as 100 million suns.
Just think about 100 million suns. Think of all the planets involved in that.
Yeah,
Too.
all the freaking planets going to eventually start circulating around.
Yeah, you know, and we're just getting started, right? We're not talking about something that's going to shut down tomorrow, you know. So I thought this was an appropriate picture. Look at all these suns and look at all these 100 million planets that associated with the suns and all thrown off by a single nebula, right?
Right.
Okay. see how we're doing on time. Let's try to get another one in here. Millie, would you take the next one, please?
Yes. Nebula are not directly related to any of the administrative units, such as minor sectors or local universes, although some local universes have been organized from the products of a single nebula. Each local universe embraces exactly 1/100,000th part of the total energy charge of a super universe, irrespective of the nebula relationship. For energy is not organized by nebula, it is universally distributed.
So when the creator sun chooses his local universe, he has exactly 1/100,000 part of the total energy charge of that super universe. No more, no less. Okay. So when he
How
gets
do
a
you
sun,
measure?
huh?
How do you measure 1/100,000th?
You got me, Millie. I have no idea.
Force organizers. That's what's interesting. You would think that one would take more than another, but all 100,000 local universes will use the exact amount of energy required to build it.
That's
evenly
right.
distributed throughout.
Evenly.
the universe.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's part of the master force organizer.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it is. They work exactly the same way every single time.
Mm.
Right. All right. Let's get one more paragraph in here before we quit tonight. Mike, would you take the next one?
Yes, sir. Not all spiral nebulae are engaged in sun making. Some have retained control of many of their segregated stellar offspring, and their spiral appearance is occasioned by the fact that their suns pass out of the nebular arm in close formation, but return by diverse routes, thus making it easy to observe them at one point, but more difficult to see them when widely scattered on their different returning routes farther out and away from the arm of the nebula. There are not many sun-forming nebulae active in Overton at the present time, though Andromeda, which is outside the inhabited superuniverse, is very active. This far distant nebula is visible to the naked eye, and when you view it, pause to consider that the light you behold left those distant suns almost 1 million years ago.
That's hard to even conceive, isn't it? Right.
About the time that man started on this planet.
About the time man started on this planet. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. That's when it left there. Right.
Yeah.
All right. And I think, it's interesting too, that there's something in this paragraph that always amazes me. And then that's the fact that these suns move out in the spiral configuration. They go out one direction and come back another. Right. I don't even conceive how that is possible. You'd think it would be a constant motion in one direction, but apparently it doesn't. And I put a picture in here. This is what they're talking about, this spiral nebula. These arms are going around in a certain way. How they would leave one way and come out in another direction is beyond my human conception. That's all I can say. Right. That's all there is to it. I think we're gonna have to quit there.
God, just think of the flow of water.
Yeah.
Water goes in one direction, and it can swirl around. I mean, water can't go this way and this way at the same time.
Right.
So
Right.
it would go in a swirling motion.
Yeah.
So that may be a gross example of why they return by a different route, because it'd be opposing forces there.
That you may be right, Mike. I tell you what, we got 2 more paragraphs. Let's see if we can get 2 more paragraphs done before we quit tonight real quick.
Okay.
Jane, would you take the next one?
Okay. The Milky Way galaxy is composed of vast numbers of former spiral and other nebulae, and many still retain their original configuration. But as the result of internal catastrophes and external attraction, many have suffered such distortion and rearrangement as to cause these enormous aggregations to appear as gigantic luminous masses of blazing suns, like the Magellanic cloud.
Magellic,
So, yeah.
Man, like,
yeah, close
Magellanic.
enough. Magellanic, that's right.
Magellanic cloud. The globular type of star clusters predominates near the outer margins of Orvonton.
Okay, so out near the outer margins of our super universe are the Milky Way, right? Let's get one more paragraph and then we'll start on 5 next time. Let's see here. Letch, would you take that last one for me, please?
Okay. The vast star clouds of Orvonton should be regarded as individual aggregations of matter comparable to the separate nebula observable in the space regions external to the Milky Way galaxy.
yes.
Many of the so-called star clouds of space, however, consist of gaseous material only. The energy potential of these stellar gas clouds is unbelievably enormous, and some of it is taken up by nearby suns and redispatched in space as solar emanations.
Okay, and we've seen kind of some pictures of those, right? All right, and let's start here the next time on number 5, the origin of space bodies. Just so much in this, isn't there? It's just, it's hard to even conceive of all of it. All right, I'm going to say a little prayer and we'll quit for tonight. Father, thank you for bringing us together tonight. Thank you for this knowledge on this stuff. It's so far above us. It's almost unbelievable, but any little bit that we can retain helps us grow and know our universe a little bit more. And we thank you for trusting us with this knowledge and try to enlightening us just a little bit. We thank you for these people that come and share this with us and pray that you'll bless each one of our lives. We thank you and we give you the praise in Jesus' name. Amen.
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 Thank you all. Thank you, Roger.